I was grilling because the grill's right by the pool,
Yeah.
and I went over and dropped an entire wagyu ribeye into the
Hey.
pool.
Did you take it out? And you did.
Threw it away.
Wow. Victor, we're ready. Jason,
What's up,
thank
Hastings?
you for having lunch with me yesterday. Great meeting. We built pretty crazy pool. We had a lot of up and downs. I'm gonna jump right into it. What made you choose us as your pool builder before we even started the whole design process? What did that look like for you and your family?
So this is our second pool. Okay, so we've been through the pool building process before. Our first pool was a very straightforward, common pool that most people would have. It's a big rectangle with a spa at the end of it and not a lot of bells and whistles. When we built this pool, we were looking for a contractor that could execute on something that was going to be special. And I think there's only a few types of companies that specialize in special. And you guys were one of them. And we interviewed a few. And I think the big thing for us is that we're looking for a company that we could trust to execute the end result. Right? And I as you know, I come from the world of construction, and, I'm in the business. I don't build pools, but, I know that no project will ever go perfect, but if you have the right company trying to get the end result to where everybody's expectations are, that's usually when success happens. And so throughout the process, that's really what we were looking for. And, I'll give you a little tip of the cap as well to the design. We were looking for somebody that could push the limits of a design and not just give us that same old Texas pool.
Yeah. Dude, and I remember when you first came to me, that's one of the things that got me truly excited, right? I'm like, okay, he's open to doing something different. And tell me a little bit about that process and how it looked for you. Like before I laid down the pencil, I know I said you got like one design, the second one, but what was that feeling when you got that design?
Yeah, I mean, I think the feeling was, I mean, I think if I try to put it into words, it's I didn't want to tell you what I wanted the pool to look like. I wanted to tell you how I wanted to live with the pool. I wanted to tell you about the parties, about the family gatherings. I wanted to tell you about my time when it's just me and my wife, and I wanted you to hear how I wanted to use the pool, and then I wanted you to come look at my house, and I wanted you to figure out how to make it special. And we did. We did two. I don't know if you remember, but we did two renditions. We did one, and then we like totally scrapped it. I'm not sure if that's normal. Like I don't know if you do one and you refine it. We did one, and then we loved it, but then we scrapped it because we didn't think it was enough.
Yeah.
We didn't think it was pushing the limits enough.
Yes. And it was kind of pushing
It was
it.
pushing the
So,
limits, right? Like we had like fire coming out of water. It was pretty cool, but it just wasn't doing it.
yeah.
And I think I called you and was like, dude, I like it, but for what I'm trying to do, I need you to go back to the drawing board. And I think at the time you're like, well, send me some things that you like. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. And
And
dude,
and then you did.
and dude, what I think what made it happen too was that we had like a second or third meeting at your house where you walked me through the closets, the bathrooms, like all the materials you used. And then I told you, dude, I got it. Like I
Yeah.
think I'm so then I came up with something it's like, I love this pool.
Yeah.
And like I mean, we have so many features on this pool. What are your favorite features on this pool? And I know it has a lot, so maybe you can name a few.
Yeah,
The
I
things that you
mean,
like.
listen, the pool has, I think every feature that's available, but I think the couple things that stick out to me. So we have and I don't know if you'll be able to show pictures or videos of the design as
Oh, we
we go
will.
along. But what I would tell you is what people find really cool is that we have the patio separated into two areas. So we have the patio that's by the house, and then we have the patio that's out past the pool, like where the kitchen is. And it's all under covered area, but we separated it with like a moat,
Yeah.
like a built creek type of thing.
Yeah.
And we did some floating steps to go up to it. And I don't think people expect to see that. So for me, that's always the cool part. We lit the whole thing up with LEDs. So my pool is really like it's a great pool, but it's an incredible nighttime pool, because the under the floating steps, it just kinda hits a little different at night. if that makes any sense. So I love that. We're big health and wellness family, so we build in the cold plunge to the pool. I think we were the first ones you did that with,
That's
or
right.
one of the first.
First cold plunge, man. So
First
thanks
ever,
for the
right?
opportunity.
So
Yep.
my doctor told me I had to cold plunge, and I was one of those guys on the internet looking at like buying cold plunges. My wife told me I wasn't allowed to have one because they were ugly, and then I was like, "Hey, Sus probably can build this into the pool,"
Yeah.
and she was like, "No, I don't think it works that way." And I'm like, "He can figure it out." And and I know I gave you some examples of some other stuff that I've seen, but the cold plunge works great. It's automatic. It's automated. It's part of the infrastructure of the pool. It for me, it turns on every morning at about 4:30, and about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's 49, 50 degrees, and, like clockwork, it works. And so I know that was, that was a new thing for you guys, but that's probably my favorite part of the pool. And then really, we decided to treat the cold plunge and the pool like separate pools. I don't know if you remember that in the
Yeah.
design process, and we weren't sure we wanted to do that because there was some extra cost involved with that.
Yep.
Because it's another filter, it's another chiller, it's another heater, right?
Yep.
So you have this little, I don't know what it is, 5 foot by 5 foot cold plunge that is literally built like a pool, and it seemed overkill, but what's cool about it is, um you can use it really well. So, like, the cold plunge can be cold, the pool can be normal, the hot tub can be hot, and that all can happen at the same time. And I think it's really rare to see a pool that doesn't just look good, but also really, like, works how you want it to work for your family.
And dude, and before we started the construction, and we talked about this yesterday, what were your fears, your hesitations? How did you feel about it? Like, did you were like, they're about to tear up this hole and God, please, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, I knew what to expect, from a construction perspective, but I would tell people, however dirty you think it's gonna be worse. However much rain you think
Right.
you're not gonna get, you're gonna get double. Whatever, material that you thought wasn't gonna be on back order will get back ordered, right?
Can we dude, and I wanna jump into that because it's such an important topic, especially on your pool, right? Like, the materials,
Yeah.
let's talk about that because this is part of kind of the headache of this project. It was just the nature of it, the complexity, but walk a little bit over that and how we responded during that
Yeah, I
process.
mean, like, so, like,
Everything, Jason.
our pool process didn't go perfect, right? So,
Right.
I wanted you guys to use materials that I don't think you use quite often, until my pool. I think you use them a lot now,
Yep.
and I think you've used them a couple times prior, but I don't think it was, like, common for you. And a lot of the materials that I wanted to use were more commonly found in, like, Arizona and California, who I think in the pool industry have really pushed the limits of, like, what design was doing. So I wanted porcelain, I wanted shiny porcelain, I wanted, different kinds of tumbled travertine, I wanted soapstones. I mean, I wanted it to be a different pool. I didn't want the
The
same brown
the
Texas pool.
concrete, the spray decks.
I wanted, special spray deck. I wanted multiple colors in my pebble. I mean, I had a lot of ideas for this, and I think your answer along the way was, "I'll tell you if I can't do it, but so far I think I can figure all that out." What we found was Texas is still Texas, right? And so, like, and a good example of this is we picked a beautiful, we all thought it was beautiful when we picked it, decking material.
Yeah.
And, I think your manufacturer thought it was, beautiful as well, but I don't know how often it had been installed.
First time.
First time, and, we found it was white, right?
Pure
And
white.
it was pure white, and, and it looked beautiful. It was a little blinding, by the way. I would steer people away from hyper white, but regardless of that, you use like a base when you put down the decking material, like a sand, like a granite, crushed granite base. But well, in Texas, that crushed granite is like orange. It's like a mixture of clay and stone. Well, we put that down. We put down this beautiful decking, and then I called you what, a week and a half later.
I think it was the same, like,
It was like a week.
a week or less.
Hey, Seuss, my whole deck is orange, and you're like, no way. And I'm like, yeah. You guys came out, you cleaned it, and then 3 days later, when I called you back, hey, buddy, it's orange again. What we found was the material was soaking up the granite, the crushed granite through the material and literally was ruining the material. Now, to your credit, as much as my wife was upset, and of course,
Yeah.
you don't want that to happen, to your credit, you were able to work with your manufacturer, I think,
That's
and say,
correct.
hey, listen, you guys gave us bad info. One way or the other, I don't know how you did on the back end, but within about 3 or 4 weeks, it was removed. We had picked a new material, which by the way, we love, which I think is a tumbled marble,
Yeah.
I think is what we did.
Yeah.
And listen, the new material is great.
Yeah, and it looks great.
Yeah.
And dude, to your point, it's like we talked about this is we're always trying new things, and that's part of pushing the boundaries. And sometimes if you're not trying it, to your example, like that deck, we could have when I was running your job, I was going to do that in 4 more other jobs, but it didn't happen, thankfully, because of that experience, right?
Happy to be the guinea pig.
And not to put you at the guinea pig, but it almost turned out like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But we're trying to always improve and work with reps that are actually going to give us a material that's going to work. So with time and just actually trying the material, we can see the actual longevity. If you're not trying it, it's going to sit there in a showroom. It's going to look pretty, but then you put it in the actual pool. Now you see how it performs.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't Instagram, right? It's real life, right?
Sure.
And, like, everything looks good on Instagram from, like, 30,000
That's
foot
right.
in a drone.
And the pretty picture that's
Right,
Photoshop.
but, like, we are in the pool, and you're this far away from the tile, and you're this far away from the way that it gets executed, and it matters who does it.
Yeah. Dude, and jump into something more fun. What are the funnest moments that you've had in this pool? Like, when do you guys like to go in the pool? I know you told me at night.
Yeah, I mean, we do I think the best way that our situation in our yard is used is, like, evening parties. So, like, we really like to get our friends and our family together. We'll do, like, we'll cook on the outdoor kitchen. We have the grill, we have a griddle, we have a green egg, right? So you kinda, like
Everything.
we can kinda have everything. So, you got something smoking, and then somebody making smash burgers, and somebody grilling a steak, and then we kinda, do the whole Texas, hangout, right? It's like, come hang out, bring your own beer, margaritas, whatever you're gonna drink, jump in the pool, and, it's good because if we do it with kids, the pool is set up in a way where the kids could be in the cold plunge, and you could warm the water a little bit, and, 85 degrees, but the adults can be in the hot tub, and it could be 95 degrees, and, it's worked out really well. We like the fire pit too, in the shoulder months, right? It's good to sit out there by the water. You're not gonna get in the water then, but it's good to sit by it.
Dude, and tell me, because this was just not the pool, right? It's hard to capture this pool even on pictures.
Yeah.
And this pool got like 5 awards in one day. That does not happen because there's like the cold plunge part, the entry aspect part of it, the landscape part of it that we helped you with.
Yeah.
Do you think that all turned out better than what you imagined?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think if you remember, I came to you and I was like, I'm not gonna build the pool with you unless you help me with the landscaping design." And I think your answer to me was, "I'm not a landscape designer." And I said, "I get you, but this is gonna have to be a package where the guy that designs the pool helps me with the landscape design." We worked something out, to do that. And we incorporated sidewalks at my house. So we ripped out the standard sidewalks, and we incorporated sidewalks that were part of, like, the pool design. And they're like an offset, individually poured, smooth concrete sidewalk, and they're wrapped in, like a bull rock, like a Mexican beach pebble, and it's beautiful, right? And then we planned the trees, we planned the plants, we talked about it, and then, of course, I had my guys do that, but at the end of the day, that tied with the pool really sets it off, and I think we get a lot of comments on the pool, but you gotta remember, people have to get to your pool.
Yeah.
So you can't forget, like, what's it look like when you're walking up to my pool?
Yeah.
You don't just walk through my house and then land in the water. You walk through an entry, you open a gate, you have a special walkway. We have a putting green, we have turf. You
The
get
grand wall.
the grand wall that covers up gives you privacy for the spa, because of the way that the lot was, and you had the and that's another thing. We had to fit this pool into the lot,
Yeah.
and I have a big lot, but I have like a narrow backyard portion here right behind my house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think I don't know how we could have used the space better.
I'm gonna ask you a couple fun questions.
Okay.
Okay, what's the weirdest thing you've dropped in the pool so far?
Oh, I I I d I dropped I don't know, if you know Chef Austin at Tris, the restaurant that was in the Woodlands.
Yeah, they closed
Yeah,
recently.
really great
Great restaurant.
restaurant. He opened up his own, ranch, actually,
Oh,
and
dang.
he sells, like, wagyu, like, steaks,
I gotta try it
and,
out.
they're great. I'll get you one, but I was grilling because the grill's right by the pool,
Yeah.
and I went over and dropped an entire wagyu ribeye into the
Hey.
pool.
Did you take it out on either? Is
Threw
that
it away.
wow. What's your poolside drink of choice?
Poolside drink of choice. I think people's poolside drink at my pool is probably margarita.
Margarita,
Yeah, for me, I'll just take a sweet tea or something.
cannonball, or a graceful dive? You're a tall guy. Your pool's not that deep,
It's
so you're not that
cannonball.
a cannonball.
Yeah.
Pizza float or flamingo float?
Ooh, pizza float.
Night swim or sunny afternoon?
It's definitely a nice swim up.
Sand water feature or Vegas style fountain?
It's Vegas, baby.
You got Vegas in that
Vegas
pool.
pool.
It's a party pool.
Yeah. I mean, how many lights are in my pool? 30
Probably, if I
plus
can't
LEDs.
plus the LEDs. I mean, yeah, you got lights everywhere.
It's a Vegas pool.
It's a Vegas pool. It's a party pool for sure. Um, Anything that you wanna say to people about what they have to think about before they build or design their pool, choose that pool builder?
I think what I would tell people is, listen, it's construction. I don't care how good someone is. It's construction. It's you're gonna go into the earth and dig a hole and turn it into something that you're gonna use a certain way. It's unpredictable, right? There's weather, there's a ton of contractors that you have to use. You guys can't possibly just employ all those people. There's materials. I think the best thing that I would say is if people have fears, concerns, or expectations, make sure that you voice those with you guys up front and be on the same page what that looks like. 'Cause I think where projects go wrong is when expectations are off, right? And when where expectations are aligned, then everybody's gonna has a chance to be happy, right?
Yeah.
But like if I think it's gonna be, 6 weeks to build my pool with no problems, and it could be 18 weeks
Yeah.
and 3 problems, and we're not talking to each other, it could be a major problem.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a big one. I would say the other thing about you guys is you are willing to make things the way that the customer expects them. And you can't be afraid as a customer to ask you guys to do that. And you have to be fair, you can't be unreasonable. I mean, but if things are going off from what as a customer you thought, you have to speak up. And I will tell you on our project, there were 3 or 4 things that were like that. And I know I was not afraid to tell you about those things. And we didn't always agree on those things.
That's right.
And we're about 18 months out from when you guys built my pool, or 16 months or whatever it was. And we are still to this day, like you're willing to come back and take care of something if we see something and we don't feel like it's right. And I think that's a little bit of validation for me now. It didn't maybe feel like that in the middle of it,
Yeah.
but here I am a year and a half later and notice something on my pool. I'll text you,
Yeah.
and you're not,
We're about to walk that pool again.
and then you text me back and say, "Wait a second, that's not how that's supposed to be right now," and you guys are gonna come out and you're gonna take care of it. And I think, not to say that you wanna have a problem with your pool, and we don't have a major problem, but when something's not perfect, you guys are striving for that,
Yeah.
and, I really do appreciate the fact that you guys are still willing to come out and back it, because it's not a small investment. It's not a small decision, and it matters. That's probably what sets you apart from, like, somebody else that can still like, you're not the only guy that can build a fancy pool, right? There's people out there can do it, but how many people can run a great business and build a great pool?
Right.
Probably a lot less.
Right.
And you guys have the awards and the accolades to back it up.
Well, buddy, thank you for your time, like really sincerely, and for the opportunity because those are the pools that we like to work in or with because we're always looking for a challenge. Me as a designer, and we talked about this, like there's things that I'm gonna have to figure out. And I'm gonna be really like I'll tell clients now, hey, shit's gonna happen. And in the end, I have no choice but to finish it. So that's the goal. And the goal is to, you know, I said in one video that I had is you got to get into your client's imagination, respect that thought, and see how you can really bring it into the backyard. Like that's my goal with any pool. And it was a wild ride on that pool. And it has a name. The name of that pool, what was it? The Forever Ending Pool? The forever ending pool, but man, you can call it that, but I always tell people once you step into that yard, you get an understanding of what that pool is. And I told you, get a drone, go all over Wood Forest. You will not find a pool that has that complexity or everything that was in there. You just won't, because some people are not willing to take the risk. And thank you for taking it with us and for the trust till this day. And good to have you here, man. So I
Yeah,
really appreciate your
perfect.
time.
Yeah, thank you guys for the good work.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Jason.